speaking about the matrix in our circle, people are making in a month what people make in a year.
Right.
Now transparency, I'm not making a yearly salary in a month, but you know, some of my best friends are, and it goes against what we were told, and it almost gets to the point I have 1 foot in the matrix, 1 foot out of the matrix.
Sure.
And sometimes, like some of my family, I just withhold information because they don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't like, yeah, my friend just made $100,000 in a month. That's like, that is the gold standard for what somebody would make in a year.
Yeah.
And they won't understand. And so there gets to a point though in life where not everyone is meant to understand. The message isn't meant for everyone, and you can't convince everybody.
Yeah.
You can't convince everybody what you're on, because there's going to be people that they're like, yo, that's crazy. And that can affect your ability on the situation. It can affect your mindset.
Yeah.
So once you escape the matrix, you open up a whole new world, the red pill and blue pill. By definition, red pill is like seeking the real truth. Blue pill is like ignorance is bliss. And so seeing how people are making $50,000, $100,000 per month, it just goes against everything that I knew. And if I asked advice for somebody who lives in that matrix 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with the matrix or 9 to 5, I'm here right now because my family has sacrificed working long hours.
Yeah.
But in order to break through that, you have to reject conventional wisdom.
Yeah. 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 You have to go against everything that society has told you you're supposed to do. And you know, it's funny, a lot of people say like, oh, I'd love to own my own business so I can have time freedom to do what I want.
That's a lie.
Boy, that's just, you know, that's another story you get fed is, you know, right now with the company, we were working from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's like, you know, and that's not even that crazy.
Yeah.
And so when most people are just now willing to make that sacrifice, but it's a paradigm, it's like a paradigm shift that you have to go through. Because if you told me right now, make $1 million a month, like to me, that's such an exorbitant amount of money, even though I understand that there's steps and there's ways to get there and there's, you know, people doing it. It's something that's so like big in terms of what my current, you know, paradigm is, that I'm not the type of guy that makes $1 million a month.
Yeah.
And so when people look at that, they feel helpless. And I understand, because when you tell someone, you know, hey, this guy just made $100,000, and everyone around them is you know, looking for change in their couches, and the gold standard is making $3,000 to $5,000 a month. It's a complete paradigm shift that you have to go through, and for most people, it's a scary thing to do. Like once you open yourself up to that people are doing it, and there is a possibility, it requires something completely different from you, and so that's why most people, they look at it and they're like, this guy's a drug dealer or you know, a criminal. Yep. Or he did something, he stepped over people to get there, because it's a cop out to where like, I'm not that type of person, so I'll never make that kind of money. And so for me, it was, and we've talked about this before, but meeting people in finance, you meet these people, you know, and we were hanging out with this guy in New York at a real estate event, and we were meeting people who were running crypto funds of $600 million and hedge fund managers of $5 billion. And we were with this guy who was in charge of purchasing all the real estate for the Saudi royal family, and these numbers that they're throwing around. Like, I've never heard these numbers, you know, like these are, you know, you just like, it's so far removed, and for most people, they'll never come across somebody who's in that position. And so it's such a foreign concept that people are actually making that kind of money and in charge of that kind of wealth. And when you finally are able to break that barrier and meet these people, and you know, they've obviously done a lot of things right, and they think big, and they have great mindsets, but they're not what you'd expect. They're not a superhuman, you know. They're people who simply, you know, one guy focuses on opening a pizza restaurant, one guy focuses on building dominoes, you know, and those are the two same human beings who at the end of the day go to sleep and wake up and have to brush their teeth. And so once you're able to start breaking those barriers down, you're able to then kind of reverse engineer what they did
Yep.
and who they are,
Yep.
and it shows you a pretty clear path. You know, it's fascinating. Even still, you say $600 million, you're like, that just doesn't even make any sense, right? But then you driving around Miami, you pass these skyscrapers. It's owned by somebody.
It's owned by somebody,
Right.
man. You know, one thing you said to me that's always stuck with me is it takes the same amount of time and energy to build something small, to build a business that is small, compared to building a business that is big.
It's fascinating, right? And the example is somebody who opens up a local restaurant can spend 15 to 20 years building that up and once they retire, they sell it for maybe a 1x multiple,
Yeah.
8-month multiple. Your entire 20 years is condensed into 8 months of earnings, and that's how you sell it.
Yeah.
And for some people, and you can use an extreme example like Tesla or Amazon or Facebook were built in under 10, 15 years. They were built into trillion-dollar companies. So they spent less time
Yeah.
building the largest company in the world, opposed to the guy who spent 20 years,
Yeah.
building up the restaurant. And that's the paradigm shifts that you just have to go through to be able to get to that next level.
Yeah.